All right, so here we are. Blair, how are you, my friend?
Hello.
Well, actually, we've been in this room now for about 5 hours.
Right.
And I'm introducing myself.
That's why I hesitated on the
It's like,
handshake.
hello.
It's our post-lunch handshake.
It's a post-lunch handshake.
Yes.
And we've been working with Jonah Smith.
Yes, my friend Jonah.
I know,
who is
you
now your
introduced me
friend.
to,
Yes.
which is rather special.
Yes.
So we're doing I suppose, it's an interesting, I wouldn't say it's an experiment, but what we've done for those that are paying attention is we've got very expensive, beautiful microphones here, which is very typical for Sunset Sound. But as you see, right up close to it there is a Shure drum mic package, and I believe we have like 7 mics total.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One down there? 7?
No, that's we're not using that 57, so we're actually going to use the overheads to pick up the hi-hat.
All right.
The other 2 are actually, we can go and look at them in a second, the room mics. The point of this is like, and I know you know what I'm going to say here, it's like the room is obviously a big aspect in drums, obviously.
Yes.
But the most important thing is the drummer and the drums.
Yes.
And probably the most important thing is the drummer, obviously.
Probably.
Well, you hope.
I hope so.
And so what we're doing is obviously we're recording with beautiful, expensive, microphones. I mean, each one of these is, a couple of mortgage payments for most people, for any of us, to be honest. So there's a good 100 grand's worth of equipment going on here, and $500 worth of Shure drum mics and a Focusrite Octopre. And so we're recording the songs we would, but this is in tandem. So it's kind of a fun thing to do.
It's an interesting experiment, yes.
Yeah. And we haven't paid any specific attention to it. We're just printing them flat. We're going to go back and listen and see what it's like.
Cool.
Yep.
Right on.
Now tell us about your kit. We do have bottom mics here for those that are noticing. However, I didn't use them. We muted them. We just set them up last night when we came in here to do drum setup. And when we worked on the song, Blair decided that it would sound best with, I suppose we used to call these concert toms when I was a kid.
Well, actually, yes. I just showed up with these.
Yeah.
Right? No bottom heads.
No bottom heads.
Yes.
And Vistalites.
Vistalites.
I'm a fan of Vistalites. I have a blue Vistalite kit, which used to be
Yes.
my house kit, my old studio.
Yes.
Now I've got my 64 as my house kit, but the Vistalites are pretty special sounding.
They're pretty awesome, especially with pinstripes and a lot of tape.
Yeah, pinstripes and a lot of tape. I actually like the snare. I have a Vistalite snare. It's pretty, doesn't sound like anything else.
Well, this is a Ayotte Snare.
That is
it's
amazing snare.
It's a wood. It's all wood hoops and everything, and it's a 3x13, which is kind of weird, but it's tuned kind of low, so it doesn't sound like a piccolo or anything.
It's amazing. Yeah, that's really, really cool. When Blair came in to listen to playback, he said to me, "Are you gating the snare?" And I was like, "Nope."
Yeah.
It just has that. It just comes and goes. There's no the decay is like so controlled.
Yes.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what it was when I first heard it. Between that and these little baby Istanbuls, they're pretty spectacular.
Yeah, these are cool. These are a Turk. They're called the Turk, but there's actually here's the magic about these.
It's a double in the bottom.
There's actually 3 cymbals here. Yes. So that's why it makes the sound that it does.
Oh wow!
It's a little special trick.
Let me hear it.
Super dry.
Yeah.
Plus
Great.
they're 8 inches. 10 inches, 8 inches. They're very small.
Yeah.
So, yeah. They're good.
Yeah, they're amazing. And we got our usual trick with the 451 and 57 taped together. So we get a little bit more high end out of this and a little bit more grind on the 57. The more I've been doing this, the more I rely on the 57.
Really?
Yep. And which because I end up taking out some of that super, super high.
Uh-huh.
It just gets in the way. And I hate hi-hats. I like,
I'm
body.
going to try that. That's interesting.
Well, at my house, I've been using an SM7 because we ran out of 57s. So now I've got an SM7 only on it. Hey, it works.
I meant to try that. It's a wider, but that's a wider frequency range, isn't it? Than a
Maybe.
57?
Sounds pretty similar to me, but...
Okay.
Istanbuls.
All Istanbuls. All the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
When did you move over to them?
4 or 5 years ago. Just because I like dark jazzy cymbals.
Right.
They're amazing at it. That's all there is to it. I mean, they just make, like any cymbal that I go there and picked out, or, I just love them, so, yeah.
Did that come from sort of, because for me, like, when you have any gear that you want, back in those days of the budgets,
Yeah.
we'd always rent vintage Zildjians, and they always just seem to be that little bit darker.
Not to get sticky, but
Get
like,
sticky, please. Tell us.
No, it became like this was the type of cymbal I always wanted, the sound of the cymbal I always wanted, and I didn't find that with.
I think with the vintage stuff, it always seemed to have this darkness, and pretty much all the first records I made in Los Angeles were with Ross's Gretsch kit. Remember the brown Gretsch kit? It was on pretty much every record with a collection of vintage Zildjians.
Right.
And they always were darker. And the great thing from an engineering perspective is that you don't have to take out all of that high end. They just sit beautifully in there, and it makes life easier.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, even the stuff I do at home, and I'm not even really a mixer, even though I try.
Yeah.
Like I find it much easier. It's like there's a crash cymbal. It just sits under a vocal or under a guitar or whatever. It's not like,
Right.
Yeah. So yes, I love these cymbals.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got one or two, and I do love them. I've always got one on the kit. Rather beautiful.
Yeah.
And so, did you do the same thing here?
Yeah, these are still all same thing, Agops, but this is actually 3 cymbals. This is a China with some rivets in it, and this is to help make it a little drier, and then this is a little more weight. So, but because the tune was kind of R&B and a little modern, I wanted just something that was like, it just didn't sound like a very totally typical, like, I don't know, like a rock kit or
right.
I just wanted to throw a little something else in there. Yeah. Yeah.
Play a groove on this. I'd love to hear it.
With this?
Yeah. Fantastic. See, I love nothing more than a cymbal that isn't sustaining through every single drum hit as well. That's pretty tasty. That works out really well. And then even when you hit this, it still has kind of a great control to it.
It's pretty quick, right?
Yeah.
Even though it's a big cymbal. But yeah, if you don't hit it too hard, it gets out of the way. Yep.
Well, that's one of the biggest things for me from an engineering perspective is balancing the drummer.
Yes.
Because otherwise your room mics are useless.
Mm-hmm.
It's all boom, ting, cymbals, and
Yeah.
there's ways around it. You can distort the high end a little bit, so that kind of sits a little bit more in. But ultimately, you're always compromising. If you've got room mics that sounds like the drum kit balanced, you're going to win.
Yeah, in this tune, it was what? Acoustic piano, bass, and drums. So,
Yep.
you know, we wanted to kind of dry and like, you know, small dry hi-hats.
Sure.
Just dry cymbals in general. It's not the only thing that's like sustaining.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
And when we brought up the tracks and we had kick, snare, like hi-hat, that almost felt like we don't even need room mics.
Yes.
In fact, we've been monitoring with no room mics the whole time.
Right.
Which is pretty crazy.
Yeah. And you still hear the room a bit in these, but
Yeah.
it's still dry.
Yeah, it's still dry. Pretty spectacular.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it was the right balance. We could sometimes, we bring in baffles on the side. I like that because it can control the overheads a little bit, but this didn't feel like it needed it.
Nope.
I wouldn't be surprised if that first rough we have is going to be unbeatable.
I think right?
In every respect, performance and tones and mix.
Yeah.
Just because that's the way it felt good in the room.
Right.
Which is great. So kicks here, we've got a good old FET 47, and I really love this head. So can you play the kick for us? Yeah, it's like this is resonating really beautifully, and we get so much low end on this FET here. Fantastic. And then we got D112 inside. I suppose it makes it a little bit more modern. And the Coles on the outside is sort of like a kick-orientated room mic. I mean, it hears everything.
Right.
So it hears a little bit of the drums in the room, from a couple of feet back.
Right.
But mainly picking up the kick. It's a nice little, and the great thing about the Coles, of course, is it's high end is like,
right.
So it's not brittle.
Right. And because it's figure 8, you're getting a little.
A little bit from the back as well, so you get a little bit of the room, But I'm a huge fan of the FET. We could probably just use that. That's pretty special.
Yeah.
Kick mic.
Especially with this tune, because it's just kind of pillowy.
Yeah. Yeah, I've found these days, in my own home studio, I don't use a hole in my kick, and I've only got one kick mic, and I put it on the outside. And then if I want to add some snap, I just put a sample in just for some click, click, click. but you can't recreate the sound of a kick in a room.
Right.
You know what I mean? You come with a sample because you can't get all these mics to come alive.
Right.
But you can add some click.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's everything, the way it interacts with the overheads. And as those that are paying attention will notice we have 3 going on here. Got a little carried away. The reason for the third, well, a couple of things. A couple of weeks ago, I was in the other room, and we had
Without me?
It was with some kids. They were 10 to 16 years old, and we did Van Halen 1 in the same room they recorded Van Halen 1 in. So there's all these kids playing it, and we got the original track sheets from Sunset.
Wow.
You're going to love this. And this is actually a big part of why we're doing this. Because we got the track sheets, and I opened them up, and I'm sitting there with Jeff, one of the assistants here, and he's like, we're looking at it going, like blown away, like, okay, so there's 3 414s as overheads. Okay, that's not too expensive. That's kind of reasonable. The snare was a 546, which is like a budget 57, top and bottom. The toms were 546s, and the kick drums were a 57 in each.
Really?
Those were the drum mics.
Wait, 546, not a 545?
Yeah,
the silver
546. I think it's the one with the cable attached.
Yeah, I have one of those.
That was on the snare, top and bottom.
Wow.
And the toms.
57s in the kick drum?
57s in the kick drums.
Oh.
That was it.
Crazy.
And the only expensive mic, I mean, I suppose the 414s are arguably expensive, but relatively, not like these kind of $5,000 expenses. And the only expensive mic was a 187 in the room. There was only one mono room mic, an 87.
Wow.
And everything else was just the snare going through one of the chambers here. Mm-hmm. You can hear that.
Right.
Just one of Sunset's chambers. And,
right.
And the vocals, a chamber as well, and the guitar. They had 3 chambers when they were mixing.
Wow.
And,
cool.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I had heard that the Alex Van Halen thing was a lot of overhead.
Maybe the 3. They were using this kind of.
Because they were at Henson like 2 years ago or whatever.
Sure.
And I had heard that. I think there was more than 3 at that point, but
right.
That was a lot of.
I was over. I did go to Eddie's studio where they have Alex's kit up, and there was definitely a lot. But he has such a big kit.
Yeah.
That's probably more out of necessity. That I think he probably has so many toms and cymbals going these days that you're not going to get the coverage with a pair. So it's probably more. If it's 4 overheads, it's probably just a
size, a diameter kind of thing. Right.
It's lots of folklore, isn't there? People hear that, but they don't realize that. Yeah, if you've got because his kit's like this.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah, but isn't that crazy? All dynamic microphones and combined like $500 worth of microphones.
I wonder why.
It was 1978, 77, 78.
Yeah, but these would have been there, don't you think?
They used the 414.
77, right?
77 probably. But anyway, I love that. So I thought to myself, well, look, we can get like a $500 drum package mic kit and just put it up and record it.
Right.
And see how it sounds.
Right.
And I think that, a lot of our favorite records are not that well recorded. They're just well performed.
As we just
discussed.
Written.
Well, thanks for showing us around.
Thank you.
Let's give us some grooves. I want to hear some grooves for the kids.
Oh boy. All right.
All right. I love the way it just ends with a.
Yeah.
It's a great kit. And this kick,
cool.
like we were saying, I don't know if we got it on camera earlier, but it came up perfect straight away. Had you tuned it recently for something else?
I use it at home all the time. So yeah.
Is it the drum that's on the video? On the tuition video?
Probably not.
Right.
I'm gonna guess not. Because I have a 22 Ludwig at home and they're quite different. Right. Even that small size is like,
sure.
Yeah. This kind of does one thing.
Right.
The 22 kind of does almost anything, but this is a tighter sound. And I figured I had talked to Jonah before, and it was and it was kind of an R&B-ish thing, so I wanted like a
Right.
tighter thing. Yeah.
Great.
Yep.
Fantastic. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, Warren.
Please leave a bunch of comments and questions below. Maybe I'll get you to answer some.
That's totally cool.
Okay,
Let's do that.
Okay.
Right on. All right.
Have a marvelous
See ya.
time recording and mixing.